Hi guys, it's Ryan Fowler with Teresa Kuhn, another Friday episode of Inner Masculine Live with Inner Feminine. And yes, we are rebranding to MindChrysalis just to serve a broader audience, but just so you know, the content's pretty much going to be the same. So hang in there while we get the like new animations and stuff and everything like that, and that'll be coming in the next week or so. But we have a good one today. We're going to show a bit of an animated Andrew Huberman clip. Andrew is a Stanford neuroscientist, and then we're going to expand on it quite a bit about why easy pleasures kill motivation. And I was telling Teresa that I wanted to talk about procrastination. She said, make it spicier, so we did. But anyways, Teresa, welcome to the show. Introduce yourself.
Thank you. So happy to be here, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Teresa, you are, I was just telling you before the show, you are a highly motivated, hardworking, businesswoman. So we're talking about motivation today and easy pleasures, how they kill motivation. We'd love to hear from you just a little later, or you can say anything now even on just how you stay so motivated, because you are pretty motivated. I mean, you work hard. And you get stuff done too. And she's looking sideways at me now.
No, but I do. I have.
And so, I've never picked your brain on that. So I definitely like to learn what you're doing. So we're going to get into all of that later. We're going to talk about dopamine. We're going to talk about how easy pleasures hijack your dopamine system, which is your brain's motivation system. It's what gets us out of bed and pursuing stuff, chasing after stuff. Too much easy pleasure actually hijacks that. So we're going to look into all, the neuroscience, everything else that makes us, just sit on our butts, couch potato, etc. It's not a coincidence that couch potatoes are on the couch watching TV. There's a reason for that. So we're going to dive into all of that. But first off, just want to let you guys know that I am giving a webinar, not this Monday, but the Monday after, so November 20th. And that is on my site. If I can get to it. No. MindChrysalis. Here we go. So I just want to let you guys know about this. So this is MindChrysalis, new site, very active. It's a community where people can post, message each other, talk about inner game, share all of that, but there's also webinars. So you see the classroom, there's classes too. So I'm going to be talking here on the 20th, 7 p.m. about overcoming procrastination right there. And this is part of it. If you're not motivated in life, then yeah, you're going to be procrastinating. There's multiple reasons. You have resistance to doing things, and then there's lack of motivation too. So this is one of those aspects as to why people don't go out and do more in life. Why do people sit on their butts and they're just not motivated and they're not doing stuff, staying in mom's basement, playing video games all day, or whatever. Or for the ladies, on your phone way too much, way too much social media, wasting time with likes and follows and all of that, and just wasting time. Now, I think some of that's okay. We got to have some downtime. But what if it really interferes with your productivity and starts interfering with your life? We're going to go over that. Procrastination's big. And the reason I'm doing this webinar and tying it into MindChrysalis is we actually have courses here where you can, there's several videos. There's a self-hypnosis audio here. There's training on how to do it, worksheets. There's an ebook so you understand how your subconscious mind works. All of that is actually going to help you guys implement and fix what we are talking about today, what people struggle with. So we are not just talking about stuff. We're giving you guys solutions. And by the way, everything I just showed you is free. So why not stand up? Why not sign up? You could just see underneath me right there, the join link, but it's also in the descriptions. Go ahead, Teresa.
No, sorry. My phone just turned on my Pandora. And so there was music playing in the background.
Uh-oh. All right. Easy pleasure. No, I'm just kidding. Some of it's okay. But anyways, let's kind of dive into this. We have an Andrew Huberman. It's actually an animated clip. Someone animated some of what he said about dopamine. he's going to be talking about these easy pleasures. And hey, do we need to get rid of them all? Can we modulate it? What should we do? How should we handle all this easy pleasure in our society? Well, we're going to get into that. And I mean, this even goes to like, the NoFap community. It's tied into this, too much easy pleasure or porn, video games, all of that. To what extent does that harm us? Can we have a little? So let's go ahead and dive in. Do you have anything you'd like to say about motivation, easy pleasure, killing motivation? Maybe you disagree, Teresa. Anything on this topic, productivity killers, etc., before we dive in?
Well, I go back to what is the vision that someone has for their life? Mm-hmm. There's got to be something greater in someone's life in terms of a vision to pull them towards living a life that is in alignment with that vision. If you don't have a vision for your life, anything you do is going to be fine from a health perspective, True. From an activity perspective, from a work perspective, So I think the first thing is, what is your vision for your life? What are your values for your life? What do you value in your life? Do you value relationships? Do you value accomplishment? Do you value health? And once you've got a vision and values in line, right, or in place, then that's what's going to pull someone towards certain activities. And so I have a vision for my life. Healthy, vibrant, on purpose, accomplished, providing value to people, providing service to people. And that service and that purpose is in alignment with my philosophy. You, Ryan, left a very, very successful career
still doing it poquito.
Still doing it poquito.
I'm in Costa Rica, so I'll drop a couple Spanish words every now and then. But keep going.
And why did you shift? Because you had a vision in your life to bring value, to serve men and, everyone, to heal from their trauma, right? And so that pulled you towards activity. That vision pulled you towards activity, right? In alignment with that. Without that greater vision and without an understanding of what your values are, you'll fall for anything.
Yeah.
You'll do anything. Anything's okay if that's your vision. And if you don't have a vision and you don't really have values, anything is okay. So
yeah, I mean, my life is very fulfilling because I'm helping people, but your life also, you are a helper and you actually really are helping people as well. But Absolutely. Let me ask you, go ahead.
Absolutely, I am. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this show. We're not getting paid for this show, but
not yet.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, people can use, our various services, and hey, that's great. But I guess that does happen. I get a few clients off this show. But Teresa, why is having a vision and all these things you talk about better than like, hey, let's eat pizza every day and cake and cookies and then just lounging on the couch, watching TV and, finding a way to get 10,000 likes and subscribes and followers or, just all this. We got all this easy pleasure. Why not just, live a life, some, okay job, making 40, 50,000 a year, 30,000, whatever. It's enough to get by. And then just enjoy all these easy pleasures that are available to us so much today. Why do you prefer your life over that?
That doesn't work for me. And it's not a judgment on those that do, right? That's
have you tried it?
For me, it doesn't work. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
I've never been that person since I can remember the essence of who I am. I was not brought into this world to have an experience of doing nothing. My essence is to live a life on purpose, healthy, thriving, be in service, be an example to others on what's possible.
Yeah. And I will say for me personally, I have had times in the past, especially before I cleared my trauma, where like I had one time I played the one video game 17 hours straight to like 6 a.m. And, I've had other, like before I cleared my trauma, probably once a week, I would play a video game all night, And I cleared my trauma and, self-hypnosis, which led me to believe, hey, I can get good things and I am worth getting good things. And then I doubled my income. And now video games, I probably play 3-4 hours a week, And I think it's great to have downtime. Personally, I think it's great to have some easy pleasures. It's another episode for another day to dive into why people maybe get addicted to easy pleasures. But today we're going to focus on what it does neurologically, psychologically to us when we have too much indulgence in these easy pleasures. So the eminent Stanford neuroscientist, Andrew Huberman, has something to say on this. We have a clip to play. So we're going to play is probably going to be 6-7 minutes of clips, 8 minutes of clips, but then we're going to comment on it and expand on it because there's way more you can add to this story here. So we'll add as much as we can until, Teresa, you have to go in about 22 minutes. So here we go, guys. This is going to be interesting. Because if you guys want to get off the couch, become more successful, not saying you're on the couch, maybe just a little, maybe you just want to get 10% more motivated. This is a key insight, especially in today's society. But honestly, some of you maybe want to triple your productivity. It just depends where you're at. So here we go. This is a big key. Oh, that's done. All right. Hold on. I'm hearing some. I don't know if you hear that sound, but something's playing. Hold on.
Can't hear anything.
Okay. No. I'm going to try and refresh my screen because I'm hearing this play from 5 minutes ago. Hold on. So hopefully this doesn't wreck it, guys. Hold on. Hi, guys. I'm back. So what was going on is every now and then StreamYard glitches where it actually starts playing 5 minutes ago from this show to me. And so I could hear it. It's just very, very distracting. So even if you guys couldn't. So we're back on now. Thank you for waiting. And so give me just a moment to bring up this Andrew Huberman clip, and then we're going to go ahead and play this. And it'll take me about 30 seconds to get it up. So while we are waiting, Teresa, have you had times in your life where you maybe did give into some of these easy play, and maybe you haven't because you're a very productive person, but maybe you were less than productive and you just sat around and had these easy pleasures. How do you feel after, if you've ever done that?
I'm human.
Okay.
I'm human, and there are times that my moods get the best of me, right? There are times where I'm either tired or I'm sad or I'm grieving. And I just don't feel like doing anything. And I've got structures and accountability in place to keep me on track. So even if I'm not in the mood to go work out, I have a trainer who expects me to show up, or I have to pay him because I didn't show up and I still had to pay. So whether I want to work out or not, I've got a trainer that's expecting me to show up, and I can't just cancel, or I might lose my
Structure is important. Structure and accountability. That's what you're talking about.
Extremely important. And so I've got that in almost every area of my life. And if I think about it, I don't know what area of my life I don't have that. I don't have someone in my house watching every morsel I take, every thing I eat. But at some point you've got to be responsible for you. And I do.
Yeah.
accountability and structure and people in my life that do hold me accountable because they know my vision and they know what I want for my life. And they love me and they want that for me because that's what I want for me. And I don't show up as a loser and I don't show up as a victim and I don't show up with excuses. I own my stuff. And if you know, something happens, whatever, I can't really think of it, but if something happens where I slip, they're loving me, giving me a hand up and saying, hey, you're better than this. What's your vision? What do you want? And it puts me back in line.
Nice. Okay. So accountability to others and structures is a big part of it for you.
Absolutely.
We should do a show on that sometime. Today we're talking about easy pleasures though, but that is solid gold.
But if I go into easy pleasure too long, and easy pleasure is not working out, right? I'd love to not work out sometimes, right? I wake up and I'm like, oh, I still don't want to work out because working out is hard, right?
Yeah.
It can be hard. I love it, but it can be hard. Sometimes I'm not in the mood. So that an easy pleasure would be, hey, I'm not working out today. I'm gonna goof off or I'm gonna do whatever.
Yeah.
So
all right.
I'm not going to lay on the couch eating Cheetos and playing video games. I can assure you that's not one of my easy pleasures. But yeah.
How often do you work out?
Well, with a trainer, 2 to 3 times a week, depending on the week, what I have going on. And then I do stuff at home. I dance. I have my whole little workout thing over there. So.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Teresa. So the clip is loaded. We're just going to go through it and play it on 1 1/4 speed, and then we'll comment. Here we go. If you want me to pause it, just let me know. But otherwise, we'll play it straight through.
I think one of the most important findings in the last few years in neuroscience is that while the molecule dopamine is associated with reward, it's more about motivation and craving. There's a really classic experiment now that people use to demonstrate this. Take 2 rats, and the rats independently, separate cages, can lever press for food, or they can access food. There's a little bit of dopamine that's released anytime they get some food. So we always thought that food, like many other rewards, like food, sex, warmth when you're cold, cool when you're too warm, is triggering the release of dopamine. But someone had the good idea to deplete dopamine in one of those animals. And then what you find is that the animal without dopamine still enjoys food, still enjoys other pleasures. So dopamine's not really involved in the enjoyment of those pleasures. It's involved in motivation, because if you make the animal have to move just 1 rat's length, believe it or not, to get to that lever, the animal with dopamine will work to go get that thing. It will work through some effort to go get the reward. Whereas the animal, or it turns out the human without much dopamine, can still experience pleasure. They can sit on their couch and cram their face with pleasure-inducing calories or what have you, watch pleasure-inducing things on the television, but they have very little motivation to go pursue things that will deliver them pleasure. It's actually what's really driven the forward evolution of our species has been the desire to go seek things beyond the confines of our skin. And when I say the common currency is dopamine, what I mean is the molecule dopamine, when secreted in the brain, makes us pursue things, build things, create things, makes us want new things that we don't currently already have. And so it has a lot of dimensions to it, but rather than think about dopamine as a signal for reward, like a dopamine hit, we classically talk about it, it's more accurate really to think about dopamine as driving motivation and craving to go seek rewards. That's the rat experiment. And it's a way of tabulating where we are in our life. Are we doing well or are we doing poorly? And that happens on very short time scales. Like, do you wake up feeling good, or do you wake up feeling kind of low? Or on long time scales. If you're halfway through a long degree or you're halfway through your life, how are you doing? How do you gauge that? Well, it has everything to do with how much dopamine you were releasing in the previous days and weeks and years. So you're always comparing it, and all of this is subconscious. But what's cool is that once you make these processes conscious, once you understand a little bit about how dopamine is released and how it changes our perspective and our behavior, then you can actually work with it. And so we go back to this example of the person that's not motivated, that can't get off the couch, that doesn't want to do anything. Well, this is the problem. They are effectively the rat with no dopamine, but they can still achieve some sense of pleasure by consuming excess calories, by consuming social media. And look, I'm not judging. I do this stuff too, right? Scrolling social media. If you've ever scrolled social media and you're like,
and what he's getting at here is our brain releases dopamine to get us to keep moving forward, to keep working, to chase something, motivation. Our brain's like, why do I need to give you any dopamine? You already got the pleasure. And that's what happens, but we'll keep going. There's no dopamine then. You got the pleasure, nothing to chase as far as your brain is concerned, the subconscious, this neurochemical part specifically.
Like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. It doesn't really feel that good. And I can remember a time where you'd see something that was just so cool, or you'd see something online. I remember this when TED Talks first came out. I was like, this is amazing. These are some, at least some of them are really smart people sharing really cool insights. And then now that there are like a gazillion TED Talks, I remember spending a winter in my office when I was a junior professor, cleaning my office finally, and binging TED Talks in the background, thinking this is a good use of my time. Pretty soon, they all sucked to me. I was like, this isn't good. So what you need to do is stop watching TED Talks for a while, wait, and then they become interesting again. And that's this pain-pleasure balance. And so
he said they're pain, pleasure, balance. We'll come back to that. That's actually important. We'll keep going.
For people that aren't feeling motivated, the problem is they're not motivated, but they're getting just enough or excess sustenance. So they're getting the little mild hits of opioid. It becomes an opioid system. And if you think about the opioid drugs as opposed to dopaminergic drugs make people rabid for everything. You know, drugs of abuse like cocaine and amphetamine make people incredibly outward directed, right? They hardly notice anything except what they want more of, more. It's bad because those drugs trigger so much dopamine release that they become the reward. It's very circular. Only the drug can give that much dopamine. Nothing they could pursue would give them as much dopamine as the drug itself. So there's that. And then there's the kind of opioid-like effects of constantly indulging oneself with social media or with video games or with food or with anything to the point where it no longer evokes the motivation and craving. And this is really the new evolution of the understanding of dopamine in neuroscience, which is that dopamine itself is not the reward. It's the buildup to the reward. And the reward has more of a kind of opioid bliss-like property, which itself is not bad if it's endogenous, released from within. But when we can just sit there like the rat with no dopamine, gorging ourselves with pleasures, so to speak, what you end up with is somebody that feels really unmotivated, and those pleasures no longer work to tickle those feel-good circuits. And so there's no reason for them to go out and pursue anything. The problem is not pleasures. The problem is that pleasure experienced without prior requirement for pursuit is terrible for us. It's terrible for us as individuals. It's terrible for us as groups. And I have great confidence in the human species to work this out.
Okay, so we'll stop there. So I want to break down real quick what's going on. Our brain gives us dopamine to make us, in ancient times, we've evolved. Our brain gives us dopamine to say, you got dopamine, now you're super motivated. Now go do the hard work to get the things you need to survive and thrive. That's how it's supposed to work. In ancient times, we didn't have all this, easy pleasure, but that's what we have now. So any comments, anything to add on? So, and one thing I'll say is that the most fulfilling pleasure is pleasure tied to hard effort, because you get a consistent, now your brain needs to release dopamine, and dopamine is not the enemy. People talk about dopamine detox, this, that, and the other. It's really easy pleasure detox. You got to detox away from social media, easy pleasure, things like that are hijacking the release of dopamine. So anything to add there, Teresa?
Ryan, if you can share the screen again.
Sure.
Because it's what you stopped at, the screen you stopped at that just says it all.
Yeah.
Pleasure experience without prior requirement for pursuit is terrible for us.
There you go.
Right. And so what does that mean? There's no pursuit in turning on porn. There's no pursuit in being on social media and scrolling on your phone. There's no pursuit there. There's no activity. There's no accomplishment. There's nothing there. So you're just consuming. What a sad state to be in. And not that we don't all do this to a certain degree, but the guy that's sitting on the chair there in the screen right before, you see his body. He's unhealthy.
He's empty.
He's empty. There's no grooming. There's nothing. That's what happens. And in our society today, and this is extremely politically incorrect to say, but there are so many people, back in the 70s, they have these pictures of people in their 50s and 60s and of the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, all these people on the beach. Everybody was in shape. Everybody was in shape, right? And there are many, many reasons why we are not in shape today, but you go anywhere today And the person in shape is the exception, not the rule, right?
Yeah.
And that is the outcome of chasing pleasure without pursuit.
And unfortunately, it's everywhere. How much does a Snickers bar cost? How much does a beer cost? You know, you go down to the store and, you know, there's a convenience store right at the corner, a few blocks away for many of us, right? It's so convenient. And what do they have in these convenience stores? Junk food.
And what is
not
that?
A coincidence. It's like easy pleasure right here. It is a multi-billion, trillion plus dollar business. Easy pleasure.
And
but it kills our motivation.
Turns on stuff in the brain temporarily to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I want to look at the other side of this too, because I was raised in an environment where I wasn't allowed to have anything I wanted. And that is actually worse, by the way. I have people come to me and they're very apathetic and shut down, and we figure out why. And it's always, well, I'm not allowed to get what I want. I can't get it. I shouldn't get it. It's bad to get it. And they're ashamed for getting it, whatever. So why even try? This is actually why a lot of guys, you know, some guys are checking out of society now, because it's like they just don't think they're going to get, you know, the attractive wife and kids and good paying job and respect and good treatment through achieving. So one of the reasons a lot of guys give up is they're like, it doesn't matter how hard I try. I'm just going to be treated by crap by society. And that happens. I mean, unfortunately in Western society, watch the commercials, watch the, you know, television shows. There's subtle messages. Guys are losers. Guys are bad. Guys are the perpetrator. Guys on oppressing women. You know, that whole BS F word, you know what F word I'm thinking about, ism, you know, has made people give up. Okay, well, what now? Let's watch some porn, play some video games. But then you live a very unmotivated, unfulfilled, meaningless, or it feels meaningless. I can actually say indulging in pleasures can have meaning, and that meaning is you learn it sucks. You know, you learn it's not worth going through. Maybe it takes you a day, maybe it takes you several years to learn that lesson. But hey, go ahead.
I'm going to add one other thing, you know, talking about philosophies and values and vision. I think the overarching philosophy in all of this is, does your life matter? Does your life have value? And our society today does not value human life. Abortion on demand, you know, it's just a fetus, right?
There's a lot of screwed up messages, like stay-at-home moms are looked down at.
Right.
Which is the future of our society, a future of a stable society, or children raised in a stable home.
It is mothering, nurturing families, you know, is there value?
And dads too, all of it.
And if you don't believe, and the messages are your life really doesn't matter, right? What matters in your life is not as important as the greater good, the greater community, or the bigger picture, or whatever. And so if your philosophy deep down is your life really doesn't matter, then anything is going to be okay. Anything and everything is going to be okay. But if you believe your life does matter, and that you were here for a purpose, and that there was a greater intelligence that gave you the gift of life, and that you're here to fulfill on that purpose, then just hanging out on your couch eating Cheetos and, you know, playing video games or watching porn isn't going to do it for you.
Yeah. So I do want to highlight, you know, I understand the reason a lot of people do this. And, you know, for women, it could be social media. Hey, women get addicted to video games too.
Absolutely.
There's some overlap. You know, guys, video games, porn, alcohol, whatever. And I think you know, I'm not saying kill off all pleasure, and I don't think Teresa's saying that either, but I understand a lot of people don't feel they can get what they want. They feel if they try, they'll fail. So there's a substitute. So there's more to this. Like, you know, people come to do a session with me. I instill unconditional, unshakable belief in your ability and value. And if you don't have a high level of skill now, guess what? You can get it. You know, the more you do anything, the better you get at it. You practice, you learn, you grow. But we do have these messages, and I grew up believing, oh, what I really want, I'm not allowed to have. And there's all sorts of variations. So we're not saying don't pursue pleasure. We're not saying, hey, at the end of a hard day, watch your favorite TV show and eat a little ice cream or whatever. You know, I actually think if you get too strict, that can actually cause problems as well. But we're saying go after what you want, especially the stuff that is tied to a lot of learning and growing and effort. Later on, I don't know if we have time for it. We actually don't. You got to leave in a couple minutes. But watch till the end of this Huberman video, guys. The link is down in the descriptions. And at the end, he talks about when there is pain, friction, and effort, your dopamine levels naturally increase. That's you work out, you get a dopamine hit. People work out in the morning, they get motivation the rest of the day because pain, friction, effort actually leads to dopamine release. People take ice baths, which is very painful. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. Well, on a dare maybe. After the ice bath, even just 3 minutes in a water filled with ice cubes, your dopamine goes up 250, 300% for hours. And that's how our brain is wired, is we actually get more motivation from going after what we want, after things that require effort, hard work. So I think we should go after what we want. I think we should reward ourselves with some of these, even these easy pleasures, but do the easy pleasure at the end of the day after, you know, you put in the effort. Go after what you want, but we need to understand our brain is wired for going after what we want and struggling for it. And we by far operate the best as humans when we do that. And then we get all that fulfillment and everything else. And hey, we can get it, guys. Men, women, you can go after what you want. And if society disapproves or whatever, or they're shaming you or saying you can't do it, to hell with them. Let's fix your core and then just go for it and put in that effort. Do you have anything to add before we go?
I think you got it.
Yeah. So that is our show for today. Please understand, too much easy pleasure kills your motivation and drive. So if you don't have motivation and drive, and you're engaging in too much of this easy pleasure, video games, all the other stuff, that is probably at least one of the reasons why. Put in the hard work and tone that down, and then do it after you do hard work and watch your motivation increase. There's a lot of other stuff we can do to increase your motivation, but this is definitely one of them, is watch out for easy pleasures. We don't want to ban them, but you definitely got to watch out when and how much you're consuming them. So that's our show for today. Teresa, thanks for showing up. Any final words to inspire those you're very successful, you're kicking ass in life. If someone comes to you and they want to, you know, hit this high income independence, all that, you know, what would you tell them? Someone in their 20s, guy or girl.
It goes back to their philosophy in life. Do they truly believe their life has value? Do they truly believe they're here for a reason? Do they truly believe that they can create a life of purpose? And from there, let's design it. What's the vision? What's the idea? 100 years out, what do you want your life to look like? And then from there, right? What are your values? What's important to you?
Yeah.
It starts with those 3 things. That's it. It sounds so easy, and it takes a lifetime to tweak and to get clarity from it. But begin with something.
So here's what I got from you. Believe in your ability, believe in your inherent value, find out what you want and go for it. Like what you really want and go for it. Yeah. And that is very core to my message. By the way, the whole reason we do, like I tell you about that MindChrysalis school, all of that, is there are free courses on there to, at a deep level, get your feelings of self-worth, like deep down in your core, feelings of self-worth, self-belief, and giving yourself permission and belief that you can go after what you want and get it. Our techniques are very powerful, and some of them are available free right now. You can go on there, take the course for free. There's other stuff, but we put some of our most powerful stuff on that site for free. Get that in your core and watch your life take off. So that's our show. Thank you so much for contributing, Teresa. And Teresa really is a model for you're like a great, compassionate human being, but you're also very successful driven. I mean, you are a role model for, I think, a lot of just straight up people, you know. So thanks. That's our show. And you can do it, guys. Get that self-belief, watch the easy pleasure, how much you use it and when, and then just go for it and achieve your dreams, because you really do have more power than you know. That's our show. Thank you.